Hello, everybody. Hope y'all are all doing well and enjoying the conference. Let me test my audio here. Paused for a half a second. Well and enjoying the conference. Let me test my yeah. All right. So obviously this class is OBS 101. So I am streaming from my ATEM so that my OBS is free for me to teach from. So hello, Pastor Alicia. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Like I said, this is OBS 101. All right, we're starting from the beginning. Once we get through the initial stuff, if we have time, we will address some of any major issues and stuff like that. All right, let me get my water out of the way. I have a camera set up here. Let's see. I think we're good to go. So let me go ahead and cut over here. Ruby, hello from Chicago. Hello. So what screen am I looking at? Got too many screens up. All right, so let's cut over here. And we're just going to do, like I said, the basics of OBS. As you see, we got this here. I am going to treat this and reset everything as if it's brand new. All right. So let's go ahead and make a new scene collection. I want to get this as blank as possible, like how you would normally get it. All right. So, hello. I'm glad y'all are enjoying the conference. I hope y'all are learning a lot. We got a bunch of great teachers. Y'all thought I was joking. I mean, these folks know their stuff. Hello from Germany. Thank you for joining us. All right. So OBS, what is it? It is a free open source software for streaming. It is very powerful. It has its, it can run like a well-oiled machine, or it can run like a machine with a whole bunch of wrenches in it and you can't get nothing done. So I want to try and help you, guide you to a simple way of getting it used. And yes, it can get more complicated than this, but I want to keep it simple. Hence the name of 101. Now I'm also going to turn my fan on here for a second because I got all these lights on that have been on since 5 a.m. So let me know if that gets a distraction. And I need to turn the sound down from my phone. All right, so OBS, let's go from the beginning. Even though I already have it installed, let me bring this over here. We're gonna go to obsproject.com, and OBS does work on Windows, Mac, and Linux. All right, so any of them will work. I personally lean more towards Windows, then Linux, and then Mac, only because of the cost. But it can work, but you have ups and downs. You can go with either one. All right, so you can just download it here, boom. Now, the other thing with open source software, that means that there is no company that backs this. This is made by a collection of developers all over the world. You code, you can actually be a part of it. Download some of the software, add an enhancement, and all this other stuff, which I've been meaning to do, but I'm busy and I haven't had a chance to. But we got it downloaded. We got it installed, and here we go. Now, I guess I need to address this as well too. You need to make sure that your system can handle what you're doing. I've had a lot of people that just try and throw this. Yes, you can install it on a MacBook Air, but it's really don't have enough horsepower behind it to actually do it. So I have videos that talk about that. But just be mindful that if you're struggling with some of the stuff that we're doing, it may be that your system is not able to capable of running this. All right, so let's go ahead and the overview of it. So this is the software that's been installed. You have your scenes. I want you to think of scenes just like a scene in a movie. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame by now, hey, it's too late. So there is a scene at the beginning where you see they are going back over the fact that they're hunting down Thanos. Then there's another scene where they're back on Earth. Then there's another scene. That's what scenes are set. Now, there are sources or props inside of each scene. Lights, cameras, graphics, background. That's how this layout. So you can have multiple scenes, but each scene consists of multiple sources. All right. And then you have your audio that some sources are tied to your scenes. To your sources. Let me say that again. Some audio can come from your sources inside of a scene. All right. So let's go ahead and set up something real quick. I have my ATEM Mini over here. So we're going to come over, do a plus under the sources, and we're going to add just a basic video capture device. All right. And I'm just going to call this the ATEM Mini because that's what I have over here to my left. And here's our project window, and we need to pick what our source is. Now, I have two ATEMs. I have the one I'm streaming with, but then I also have the other one, so I don't know which one is which. And that's the one I'm streaming with. All right, so there's the ATEM Mini right there. Hello. All right. Now, that was simple. If we had a webcam, so like if I had this webcam hooked up right now, which I don't have an extra jack to plug it into, I would have an option to use the webcam. Either one of them can work, and maybe I should hook it up. I don't have a USB to hook it up to. Oh well. So the video part is simple. This is one thing that a lot of people mess up, and I'll come back and explain this. So let's just, okay. So right now, you see this red box? That means we can adjust this if you wanted to, resize it, hold down the Alt key, and you can crop it and do a bunch of other fun stuff with it if you wanted to. Hold down Control to keep it proportional so that you can't, you keep the same aspect ratio and all that stuff. So that's cool. Now, you need audio, right? So what you can do, there are two ways to do audio. I'm going to tell you the first one, but I'm going to also suggest you not do it unless you really know if this is going to be an advantage to you. You can come over here to Settings, go to Audio, and then set your audio here. Desktop audio is every bit of audio that comes from your computer as if it was a speaker. So if I turn this on, you would get an echo of what I'm hearing because it's capturing what I'm hearing in my headphones. That is where you get an echo. Some of y'all who've used OBS before. You can have two separate desktop audios if you want to, and up to 4 mics. So again, you could do that. I choose not to. And let me set my phone to silent because I thought I did. Here. All right. So you could set that. Now, when you set the audio here, so say, for example, I set the audio to my ATEM. All right. So if I OK out of that, now my audio is on every scene. So even if I don't do anything, let's make another scene. And guess what? See, the audio is still there. So that's good if you want to, but I personally don't because I do this for services. I only want audio when I want audio. All right. So what I do is I keep all of these disabled. So no audio comes in any way, shape, or form unless I want to. So let's go back to the video capture device that we just did. I'm gonna go to the properties, and if we scroll all the way down, we can check off use custom audio. So the audio is linked to our video capture device. The Mac is a little bit different. The Mac does not give you this setting. You have to do it a different way, but I'll show you how to do that as well too. Let's check off use custom audio. Now we have a choice of what audio device we can use. We can use the ATEM directly if we wanted to, or I'm using a mixer, which is the Rodecaster. I can select that. I can pick any audio that I wanted, and it's tied to this. So if you're using a audio interface to come from your soundboard, you would pick your camera, but then you can pick the audio interface here if you wanted to. That's how you can have two different audio sources that are not tied to your video. Now, be mindful when you do this, even though that's not really intensive, live streaming is a very intensive process. So if you do this and you start noticing your video and audio getting out of sync, it's most likely that your computer can't handle it, and this may be causing an issue. It's easier to pull from both sources, from one source, video and audio, than to have them split, and they have to be synced. Then it has to be streamed. So it's a lot to go into that. All right. So if you were on the Mac, what you would do. And I actually think that's actually the wrong source. That's the wrong Blackmagic. I need to switch that one to 2. All right. Yeah, because I don't have the audio on that one. So that's right. All right. So the other way that you could do this on the Mac is you would have to come in here to audio input, and it's the same thing. You would just point that to the input that you're using. And then now I turn the sound on the other ATEM, and see, now we're getting audio. But you definitely wouldn't want to do this because it's capturing the audio twice. And this would give you an echo as well too. So use one or the other. I do know if your computer is not fast enough, this will cause your stuff to be out of sync as well too. So be mindful of that. All right. So for me, I only need one, and we're capturing audio. All right. So that's cool. Now, one thing we can do now is I'm going to build out, and I did this as a video for OBS Complete Bundle. I want to do a typical service. So this would normally be when you're actually live. So let's rename this and say live service. Call it whatever that you want. So we'll know when we're there, this is what's live. But maybe we want to have a intro so that, you know, it looks a little bit more professional or something like that. So let's come over here and let's call this a pre-service. All right. And I like to move them up because I like to keep them in order how people would do stuff. So let's add a video. And we're going to do that as a media source. And I'm just going to use my stuff from my Q&A stuff because there's already a video that's already been made. Yeah, so I'll use this. Now, for your intro, this is a loop because I want it to go on and on. There are certain settings in here. So I want to say when you play this video, the way it's set right now, loop is off in all these things. And it's set to once I go to the scene, it's going to restart again. So let me show you what that looks like. If I just OK, it's just going to play. And when it gets to the end of this, it just ends. We don't want that. We want it to loop. So in the other setting, it says that every time we go to the scene, it's going to restart. So if I click away, then go back to it, it starts again, but it doesn't loop. So let's do this and let's set a loop up here. So now when it reaches the end, it just keeps going on and on. So this is really nice if you go to like pexels.com or Pixabay or buy intro video, or like you just have video of a sky or something like that. You can just loop it and then most people will not notice it. So that's really nice. But there, as you see, there is no audio on this. So I want to add some audio so that people know what's going on. Please make sure that you are using music and audio that you own rights to, that you have a license. So me personally, I have an account with Epidemic Sound, and all of these songs, I can use anything on the site and I have a license for it to use. You could also go to sites like audiojungle.net and you can buy music and you would get the license for that, and you own that, well, you have permission to use it. And if you have any issues, if Facebook or somebody gives you an issue, you have a license that you can send to them to say, yes, I do have permission to use this. And that frees up any strike that you may have if they give you. There are other places like Scott Holmes Music. He sells music. I'm not related to him. He sells music, but he has royalty-free music as well. So if we go to licensing up here, and I need to accept his cookies, all of this music you can use for free, but you can't use it for commercial use. You can use it on YouTube. You can use it on social media. You can use it for non-commercial, nonprofit, for your live stream, for your church services, internal training, internal presentations, slideshows, school projects, non-commercial podcast, meaning that you do not make money from it. and non-commercial radio. Once you start making profit on this stuff, you cannot use it. That's the stipulations of Scott Holmes' music. The first site that I went to was Epidemic Sound. Oh, maybe if I spell it right. And let me send you a reference link from me. That way, hey, we all win. Copy link. Alrighty. And again, Epidemic Sound has a bunch of music, a very, very, very wide range of music. You have tons of genres here. They add music all the time. They have classical, funk, pop, jazz, R&B, some church, not a lot of church, stuff with vocals, stuff with not, sound effects. They have a lot of stuff. So in this, I think it's like $150 a year, and it's unlimited. So they do have some corporate stuff. Me personally, I think for a church, I would say I wouldn't personally use it. So at my church, I actually just bought a couple of tracks from here, which range from like $15 or something like that. So let me log in real quick. And here, I can come in here, and I'm actually going to download something that I already have a license to. So some of this music, because this is the same music I use for my YouTube channel. So this is my typical intro. So when you come in here, like I said, it comes with a license. So this is what you would copy. So I say all that to say, be mindful. You can only use music that you own, that you wrote yourself, or you have specific license for. All right. So I'm going to add a song that I have rights for. I'm going to call it background music. I'm going to loop this song as well too. And I'm also going to close the file when the scene is over, because you don't need it to be open if you're not going to use it anymore. So here are the songs that I have my main intro that will loop. So now music is playing. Obviously you cannot hear it because you don't need to. Everybody on a live stream can hear it. If you ever wanted to hear what's going on, you can come over here to the gear, go to advanced, and then on whichever track source that you want to hear, you can change it to monitor and output. Now I can hear that. I have it turned off so y'all can't hear it, but I can hear it. Now the danger with this, again, by doing this, it is now playing to my speakers. If we were capturing the audio, we would now have a loop because of this. So you have to be careful of how you have these settings and how you're capturing audio. So we got a couple of questions in here. How do you avoid copyright claims when purchasing tracks? Well, if you purchase the track and you have a license, so I'm gonna show this, and you know, you can't use this because if you do, you'll actually get in trouble. So I'll come in here and it'll download this license, and what this does, it gives me this entire document here showing all of my information that is tied to me. So you can't just copy this and put it here because they're going to research it. All right. So I would come in, have a dispute, copy that entire license, paste it into the dispute for YouTube or anything like that. And then it goes away because this license goes back to the person who says that you're copywriting the stuff. They look at it. Oh, this person bought this from us, so they have permission to use it. Then they drop the copyright claim. Copyrights are meaning that you are using something without permissions to use it. If you buy the license from them, that's how they monetize so that they get the stuff. That's how you can avoid it. All right. So at this point, we now have an intro that's looping, and we have music for people to hear. That's pre-service. When they're ready, boom, we can switch over here, and now we're in service. Yay. Hi, everybody. We're here at church. And say we want to do some other fancy stuff, and we want to add a lower third or something like that. I did a video that has a plugin that makes this work. I don't know if it's still in here. Well, there's a video about that. So, but just say you want to make a lower third. We're going to do a real quick and dirty one here. So say we don't want to affect the live stream because this is clear. We don't have anything, but we want to add a lower third whenever. So what I would do is I would come in here and duplicate what we just did. But I would rename this and say this is live stream with graphics. All right. So it doesn't look like anything different. Excuse me. It doesn't look like it's anything different, but it really is. What I'm going to do is now, because again, these are scenes, right? We're going to come in here and add another. Let's add a image to this. All right, so I'm not going to put nothing here, but see, it looks exactly the same. But if we go to this scene, it's no different. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image here of a lower third, a generic one here. Get to the Blackmagic ones because they already have one made, so I don't have to make it all over again. So let's say we just use the news, and we're going to use this news lower third. I need to remember the path of this. And we're going to use the news lower third. All right. Now, this image is way too big, so I'm going to right click, go to transform, and I want to fit the screen. And look, it's transparent, and there's our lower third. All right. So because we have a different scene, remember when we talked about it, different scenes in the movie, that's why your live stream is. At one point in time, I'm here, somebody's talking, you got a lower third. I mean, you don't have no lower third, and hey, I want to add the pastor's name. I want to add their title. You make lower thirds, and then boom, there it goes. To everybody else on the stream, it just appeared out of nowhere. So let's go to studio view that allows you to show both at the same time. So right here to the right where it says program, that's what everybody will see. We just hit the fade and boom, it just brings in our lower third. And all it was is we had a scene where we just put an image over top. You can design your own for graphics, for online giving, anything like that. It's just an image. And everything in your sources works in layers. So right now, if I move the ATEM above this, the image is still there, but the ATEM, the video is taking up the entire screen. That's why you can't see it. I put this image over top of it, and it's transparent at the top. Now that's how you can see everything through. You can do the same thing with presentation software as well. This is not meant for that one. So let me jump over here to some questions real quick. Eduardo, understood. Extra work, every dispute you provide the license. Stream went slow when you were answering, but I got the idea. Yes, you have to do it every single time, but some companies are smart enough to where you can register to say that you've bought this, and they will whitelist your channel so that you don't do it. So like I used to get my intro music, that one, this one, like that one. I used to get that all the time. I don't know if you heard it, but I thought I had it coming through. But anyway, that music, I used to get copyrighted on that all the time, even though I bought the license. And then I ended up contacting the people that made it, and I said, hey, I bought this from you, and I'm tired of having to do this. If you don't fix this, I'm going to buy something else so I don't have to keep doing this because it's time consuming. So they whitelisted my channel because they're like, this guy has the music. He obviously is using it all the time. They removed me from the search for YouTube and Facebook to say this guy has permission. That's what Epidemic Sound does. When you buy their account, and let me go back to them, and I know this is OBS, but hey, I'm answering y'all's questions because y'all asked. So if I come back over here, and when I come in, I link my account. It's not that one. Where's it at? Profile. Did I miss it? No, that's subscription. Yeah, so in here, I link all my channels so that it whitelists me for any music from Epidemic Sound. So if I play anything on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, it says he has an account. Any music from Epidemic Sound, he's okay to use. So I don't get flagged with them for any music from Epidemic Sound. It's when I use music from anywhere else that doesn't do it, I still get flagged. All right. Another question here is Pastor Alicia. So if you purchase the copyright in your name and put it on the church's site, would it be a conflict, or do you suggest purchasing the copyright in your church's name? You would have to put it in your church's name. Or I also now use Envato Elements. This is the yearly subscription to a bunch of sites from Audio Jungle, Video Hive, and it's a collaboration of a bunch of stuff. So, like, for example, I'll show you what I did for this conference. I have an account for my company, and I can download anything for projects that I make, and it gives me a license to use. So in here, so this is a corporate song that I just downloaded. So I can come in here and say I want to download something. I'm giving projects that I can link this stuff to. So when I now download the license for it, it is applicable for whatever project I deem it. So for me, once I got this under my company, I bought this, say I bought a track for my church, I say it's for Antioch. So when a license comes in, the license is for my company for Antioch's project. So I'm the proxy giving them permission because it's written in the license. If I just buy it under my own name and then give it to the church, that's the problem. You want it in their name or in a proxy. So something like this. So that's how I use it. Let's jump over here to some more questions we got here. That's the beauty of Epidemic Sound. If you buy one by one Envato, then you need extra work. Completely agree. Sandra, if I totally messed up the OBS settings, should I uninstall and do another install to correct the problem? Well, what do you mean by settings? Because there's a bunch of things that you can do that you don't have to reinstall. And even if you reinstall, you might not get it all removed. So a couple of things you could do to fix it. So I'm back here over my screen here. You can come over here. The first thing I would do is always, out of habit, back up and export your profile. That will give you a backup just in case. So I'm going to do mine right now. I'm going to just do it to the download folders. And then you can export all of your scenes. But normally your profile does all that. So I did it in the downloads folder. Let me show where that is. And where did it put it? I think it did it in a folder. Well, let's try it again. Let's put it in a different place so I know exactly. Oh no, I exported class. So just froze there for a second. There it is, class right here. So that is, these are the settings that it did. So if I open this, so yay, it put a wonderful bunch of stuff here. You know, but it has some more stuff as well. And you can export all of that. And honestly, the easier way to get started is to just do a new. And then by doing new, it does everything new in your system. So all of your preferences, everything have been knocked out. So if I come here to settings, everything is back to 720p, 30, even though I do everything at 60. Where I'm streaming to has been reset. My hard drive, where I'm saving, everything is reset from a setting standpoint by doing a new profile. That would be the easier thing to do. Now, if you're talking about the program you've had an issue, you can always come up here to a couple of things. You can go to View, go to Docs, and reset the UI. That would reset the app itself, the layout of everything. I would try that first. All right. Yep, there you go. Eduardo said the same thing I was saying. I should have looked up. Eduardo is at Envato Elements. Yes, it is Envato Elements. And yes, it's a monthly, it's a yearly subscription. I think it's like $120 or something like that. And you get a tons of stuff. We get websites, stock video. So just like I was trying to do that intro. So, I can come in here and just say, Sky. You know, and I can do stuff like this, and I can download this and use this as my loop. So let's go ahead and download this. I'll pick my project. I'll download here in a second. And now for my intro, my pre-service, I'm going ahead and change that to what we just downloaded. And it is, I think it's like 4K. So let me resize that to fit the screen. And boom, there you go. There's my intro. I mean, I could always put text over top of this and say, welcome. You can put whatever font, put whatever graphics you want on there, you know, and make your intro yours. All right. Let's jump back over here. So some more questions we got. How well does OBS run on a Linux operating system? Does it have all the full features as any other operating system, or is it behind? No, it actually runs exactly the same way. I actually did a video a long time ago where I built a streaming system but put Linux on it. You couldn't tell the difference except for just the interface of Linux. OBS and everything was exactly the same. You know, you start getting into some 3D stuff that you might have a couple of issues if the drivers are not supported, but for the most part, it works exactly the same way. I've honestly, to save money on an operating system, sometimes I've installed Linux and just had people just use it for OBS as a streaming system. That's it, and it works great. Reverend Leroy, if you know your computer has the ability but have syncing challenges, what are some solutions? My sound comes from a USB mic to computer, not from the camera. I would check to make sure that your power is not out of sync and your USB is not shutting down. So if we come over here to my computer, if you're on Windows, let's right click on this computer and let's go to properties. And I'm happy to say I've recently added some more memory. I have 64 gigs now, so hopefully my video editing can go a lot smoother. We're going to come over here to Device Manager. And we're going to go to our USB devices. I would make sure we go to each one of these. And this one doesn't have it. Let's go to the hub. There's a power management setting here that says allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. Make sure that's unchecked, because Windows will shut power down, and sometimes that may cause an issue. It's like putting your device to sleep mode. I would check that first, make sure that's off. Now the other thing could be is there's a certain level of power that goes to a USB hub. You may be taxing it out and there's not enough power going to it. So like, for example, I don't know where they changed this to. Maybe this one will show it. I don't think I have anything plugged into that one. I'm trying to find a hub that I have some stuff on there that will show the usage. But yeah, sometimes you just got to make sure that you're not pulling too much power on a given device, and that might be slowing it down. That's the first thing. Well, that's every time I've had an issue, it's been either the USB was going to sleep or I was pulling too much power from the that hub. I had too many things plugged in. Because even though you have multiple USBs, all of them are tied to a hub. Some computers have one, some have multiple. Mine has 4. So you just got to be careful about that. Eduardo, can you create sub-project companies under the main? Yes, you can make sub-projects under that. And I don't believe you can make an account like that. Honestly, the easier thing is get the account and then make a project for whatever you're downloading it for, and you're fine. I think that would be the easiest thing to do. Sandra, you mentioned that your computer needs to be able to handle OBS. What does the computer need to handle it? It's mainly how much your processor. That's the main thing. And I would say GPU, but right now they're kind of expensive. You want to make sure that your processor is fast enough. I always recommend at least something with 4 cores, but that's kind of hard for me to say because sometimes you get an Intel that's 4 cores, but it's slow. You got to think your computer is juggling all of the hardware in your computer, running the operating system, running everything, and then you're throwing live stream on top of that. That is very intensive. So, for example, if I come up here and show the task manager of my computer right now, this is my main system right now. I have, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 24 threads in this processor. So I can throw a lot at this and it's not really doing anything. The main thing is sometimes, and actually let me remote into my church's computer and I'll just show you that one as well, because this is a similar one that was built to handle the same thing. Did I leave that on? Oh, I must have left that on. So here's the computer at my church. So if I look at the performance of this, this is, what's that, 12? Yeah, I have 12 threads, that Ryzen 5 1600. So even though we don't have a graphics card inside of this, this computer is more than capable of live streaming and handling everything in this system. So that's the main thing. Now, honestly, before COVID, the processor for this was $80. Now it's going for $180. But still, at that price, you have more than enough. And then memory is not that big of a deal. Honestly, go as low as 8, but honestly, get 16 gigs of memory. And then an SSD, a solid state hard drive. That's the main thing. I'm not an AMD fanboy. I just know that the potential and the power from them have been reasonable in price. So for me, I would go with a Ryzen 3 3200G or higher. And that's more than enough to handle live streaming by itself. And that's bare bones. You could always go more powerful for than that. Like right now, I'm streaming, doing video editing, running multiple systems right now, and my system isn't even pushing any limits on anything right now. It's not stressing out in any way, shape, or form. My internet is, because I'm streaming, but right now, you see, I'm only using 12% of my system, and normally at our church with the right system, you're not going over 30. So hopefully that helps. Eduardo, every time I see the amount of drives you got connected, I giggle. It's storage heaven. Yeah, a lot of mine is also network storage right behind me as well too. Yeah. So thank y'all. That's completely true what y'all saying here. So back in here, so I did a bunch of scenes, but the main thing is understanding that your scenes, you have multiple sources in your scene. Set up the sources to set your scene. So your source is graphics for online giving. That's a source. And then you also have your video for that. You have music. You can do a bunch of stuff that goes on the top of that. Reverend Leroy was saying, have you found OBS latest update to be okay? Yes, this entire conference has been running off of it without any issues. In the last maybe month, I haven't had any issues at all with OBS 27. Yep, you are welcome, Sandra. Any other specific questions? Because the main thing is to know not to push your system to the limit. So if I slide this over right now, granted, I'm not streaming right now, but right here, and I can't get this any bigger right now, OBS is only using 6% of my computer right now. And it's just sitting here, not really doing anything. So if I was to stream to something, where can I stream to that isn't impacting anything? Let me try Twitch for a second, because I don't want to knock anybody out that might be streaming.
23 kills. So these two players are being huge for them.
Let me get my credentials here so I can log into Twitch, and I'm gonna do this just to see how intense this is. I don't really think it is, and I lost my screen. Where was I at? think I lost my screen that I was looking at y'all for. Oh, there we go. See, I had too many screens up. All right, so let's come over here, and I'm going to go to Twitch. And I'm just going to start streaming. And let's see what our CPU jumps up to. So I'm streaming to y'all, running 2 ATEMs, all this other stuff, multiple screens, multiple cameras, sound, everything. And I'm streaming as well a second time, and my system is not going over 6%. Now let's switch back over to live video. And now CPU usage is at 4.5, 1.9. The right system makes OBS run like a well-oiled machine. If you're really having some issues, it might be configuration, or it's your system. You're pushing too much pressure on it. All right, so let's stop that, because I know people are going to be on Twitch like, what is he doing? Any other questions you got? So again, I mean, the simple thing is, I mean, can I go in more detail than that? Yes, of course I can, but the main thing is you have scenes and you have sources. Set your scenes with as many sources that are reasonable to deliver the message that you want. And then you have your pre-service. What are people watching and seeing before you go live? Live, when you're actually pulling audio and video into your system, and I showed how to pull the right audio so you're not getting an echo. You can do multiple scenes of online giving, presentations, all this other stuff. And then the same way, you might want to do the same thing with a pre-live, but that's your ending. It's telling people thank you, like, subscribe, follow, find your church here, your ministry here, whatever like that. And then you out, and then you shut off the stream. And then we also talked about having the right components in your computer to make OBS hum like a well-oiled machine. And like I said, if there's any other questions you got, please hit me up at questions@ajhomes.com or check me out on YouTube. We work to do some more videos. I know some people asked me, but obviously with this conference going on, I've been busy with that. But once we get this stuff, we'll be able to get some more stuff there. Reverend Leroy wants to know, will additional monitors affect your OBS stream? No, it will not. But again, what monitors are you talking about? Are you just talking about just regular monitors? Like right now, I have 5 set up in front of me, but that doesn't affect this at all. Now, if you're trying to use OBS to broadcast to all 5, maybe, but directly, no, it would not cause any issues. All right. Thank y'all so much. We got some other great things coming up, other sessions. Be mindful that we do have a group discussion coming up talking about developing your team and beyond service creativity. That is if you're a part of the Facebook group, you can join that. That is a Zoom that you can join, but we will be streaming it to the page so we can take comments and questions and all this other good stuff. So thank y'all so much. I hope y'all are getting a lot out of that, and we will trying to get lined up for what we get ready to do. We'll be chatting with y'all and seeing y'all in the next class or session. So thank y'all, everybody. We'll be chatting with y'all and seeing y'all in the next class or session. So thank y'all, everybody.